It's very beautiful to have you guys here as we grow Align. Align started out as a really deep pain point, guys. Not being where I knew I could be, and struggling and fighting and crying and bleeding and, clawing my way to the rightful place of a chiropractor, And as I did that, and as I learned some very valuable business lessons, I started learning that it's not just chiros, it's service providers, and that's why we opened up to service providers, and we have Phil, our resident CPA, and I'm very, very proud of Phil. Happy to call him a friend and just a good all-round dude. He took a leap of faith into Align as a vehicle for growth, and just seeing that, bless you, Doc. It's been very beautiful to work with him and watch him grow because the principles apply across the way. As I've grown and grown in business and had more and more opportunities, I've learned that chiropractors and service providers in general, we really underplay ourselves. We undercut ourselves, and we just don't understand value. We're so focused on our craft, which is a beautiful thing, but there's another side to it, and we have to sharpen both. So as I came into levels of alignment, I started out over here and I got like a little bit into alignment, and my success followed to that level, and I got a little more into alignment. And the more and more I got into alignment with myself, with God, with the messages from above, then the path just continued to illuminate. And I got to a certain point where the opportunities that were continually thrown at me were just stupid. It was just like, how could people would look at me and they're like, how? Like, how does a chiropractor get that? How does a chiropractor get bought out for a month? How does a chiropractor travel first class, paid, from people all over the world? How does that even work? And how do you charge hundreds or even thousands of dollars per one session? And I started becoming a student, more and more studying and realizing that what people really want is value. And they will pay for it, but they just don't expect it. You don't expect that much value from your gardener. You don't expect that much value from your barber. But when your barber, cuts your beard and puts the hot towel on your face and puts some spray thing on you and almost gives you an esthetician type treatment and washes your hair and all this stuff, you're like, wow, that's really nice. Quit laughing. You're like, wow, that's what the chicks do, right? Wow, that's actually really nice. And the funny thing is that most of us, we're cool just going to the regular barber. We're cool just shaving ourselves. But I wouldn't mind getting that done either, right? I don't mind a nice tune-up. And the money follows. And so once you realize that, it's like an unlock that the whole time a lot of us were chasing money. You don't have to chase money. Money's abundant, dude. Just look at where we are in Miami. Look at everywhere. There's rich people everywhere. There's poor people everywhere. So we don't have to suffer as chiropractors, as service providers. We can absolutely fucking crush it. And we just have to learn how to position ourselves and how to align ourselves with the outcome that we actually want and stop playing small. We've got to stop being over here, playing small and expecting this big grand result from doing nothing. It doesn't work like that. It's not like that. So I want to read something to you guys that I put together, and then I want to find out what you guys want to get out of today. And then we're going to dive in. So I've learned that you can tell when somebody's going to win. You can tell when somebody's going to win because it's in the way that they move when things don't go their way. And people think success is about being relentless, and that's definitely a component. But relentless without adaptability, it's just stubbornness. And we disguise it as ambition. It's like my way or the highway. And it was never about you anyways as a service provider. So the people who actually make it, who build seven-figure businesses and practices, who create freedom and who lead, they actually don't need things to go their way. They just need it to work. So they'll test 20 versions, they'll fail in public, they'll tear it down and rebuild it before anybody realizes they've even pivoted. They fail over and over again. And there's two types of people, and this becomes more and more clear the more money I make and the more I grow. That there's those attached to being right and those obsessed with getting it right. And I think there's a certain point in an entrepreneur's career where you say, I don't want to be right, I want to be rich. Because at the end of the day, guys, when it comes to life and relationships, and some of you guys are here with your partner, your spouse, it's not all about money or even close to it. Yet money is the exchange of value and the needle we use to measure a lot of times our success. But I want to go deeper. Like, forget the money. Let's just talk about options. Let's talk about helping somebody when they need it. Let's talk about stopping an injustice when you see it with money. I've told you guys before that, my wife bet everything on me. She was super successful. House paid off, car paid off, profitable business. And she met me, 26, broke as a motherfucking joke. Like broke. Like, I don't even know how I was doing it, bro. It's the Persian charm, bro. I went to Vegas with no money. And I was like, I'm going to get the chicks to buy me drinks. Not Persian baller status. It's the opposite. And she poured everything into me. And so it became my mission to make sure that she wins. And I'm no saint, no guru, not perfect, lots of faults, make mistakes all the time. I don't want to be right. I want to get it right. And I love the quote. I think it was perhaps Kennedy that said that there's no limit to what you can get done if you just let other people get the credit. It's not always about us. So there's those attached to being right and those obsessed with getting it right. And the second group wins every time. So they don't take failure personally. They see it as feedback. And they're not addicted to perfection. They're addicted to progress. And that's how you know somebody's going to be successful. They just don't stop when it's messy. They stop when it actually works. Yeah, you have to always, when you're training staff, you have to show them what you want them to do. So you have to step in and you have to do it. And then you transfer it to them, but you stay watching. And then you have them do it and have them give you feedback. Always have your staff give you feedback. Yeah, that's one way to say it, but another way to say it would be like, where do you feel like you fall? Like, for example, if you put these into an SOP, and your office may be different than Phil's or Sagi's, so you have to kind of construct how you want your office. And one of the things I talk about in my office is like healing and energy. And I explain that it's really cool being a chiro that everybody drives across town to see, but we also have to understand that, like, for us, it's just another patient, but for them, it's like their whole day. It's the highlight of their day, and they're coming across town to see us, and healing is an energy. So I'm very big on that, but you might have something different in your community. So for me, like, the empathy is huge, the inspiration is huge, the calm authority is big, because people tend to follow my recommendations, but they tend to sometimes not with my team. And so teaching them the calm authority is very important. So you have to kind of vet that out with yours. But like Phil said, to put a simple process into play where there's feedback. Yeah, that's huge. Any other questions on this before we do an exercise? Yes, sir, please.
You might touch on that later on during the day, but I know you always fail to say that the work planning should be easy and simple
Totally.
for patients.
Totally.
Who want to use them.
Yeah.
But because chiropractors have such bad reputation in terms of potentially not knowing what they're doing,
Yeah.
is not being scientific would help with that?
It's a good question. It's a really good question.
I know my stuff. I can help you.
Yeah. So I love that, man. I love that. So you don't have to let them know you know your stuff. You just have to know your stuff. Yeah. So no, but Quentin, that's a phenomenal question. But the answer to your question is in here, and what's called future pacing. So we're going to go through a consult, and we'll go over just that, and we'll have you do it. Okay, because that's the best way to learn.